How to fix Mike. This was an idea suggested to me by someone on the Fanel Discord for a video. How do we fix Mike? It is a very interesting proposition, but before we can jump into that quandary, we have to ask ourselves something very important. Does Mike even need to be fixed to begin with? Depends on how one means it by does Mike need to be fixed. In universe, is Mike broken? Yes. That is to say, he's having a rough go of it right now. He's sinking further into depression, he's not eating, he's constantly bringing himself down, thinking he doesn't deserve kindness, and all around looking pretty miserable. He's living with regret, which is one of the strongest things to feel, for regret is born from a place of irreversibility. This, of course, is coming from a long line of poor decisions and how Mike handles confrontations in general. The cornerstone of Mike's issues comes from him not wanting to hurt anyone, which is a noble goal to be certain, but this has led him to bottling up his frustrations rather than laying them out flat. This may have mainly come from a place of his love for Lucy, with him thinking that a gentle hand and some patience were going to magically solve her BPD, but that obviously didn't happen. It wasn't until someone with experience cut through her bullshit that she finally started to try and be nicer. But Mike's young and stupid, and so he kept his feelings inside to try and keep from hurting Lucy's feelings until, well, he didn't anymore. And to further tip those scales, Sandy, pretty much strong-armed him into hating Lucy more, like throwing gasoline on a spark. And so in this way, Mike is broken. Him being too nice is something that has been the center of a few conversations with his friends recently. However, it should be noted that character flaws are necessary for a compelling narrative and for growth and change of a character. But this only talks about part of the comic, as Mike still has to contend with his relationship with Sandy and the toll that's taken on him. His ego got in the way of accepting that Sandy and him aren't right for each other. Mike's desire to make him and Sandy work might also have come from a place of loneliness, as he may feel that he blew things with Lucy, and without Sandy, he'll be alone. Him, like most everyone else, desires companionship, though in Mike's case, it is not something that is brought to the forefront as much as it is for the other characters like Paulo or Daisy. Mike admits as much about this sentiment when he's confronted by Augustus over his decision to engage with Sandy again. Much like with Lucy and Zach, Augustus's one-on-one with Mike sparks a new trajectory in him, though unlike with Lucy, Mike is aware of these flaws. Augustus didn't have to prod much before the walls came tumbling down. And so in this way, Mike's ego is what made him broken. During the lull in correspondence with Sandy, Mike lashed out at his friends. This includes Sue, which is a cardinal sin, and the only recourse is the penis explosion chamber. But Sandy's infidelity smashed Mike's fragile ego, and now he's left as a new broken mess. His depression arc, which Teshi is on record stating will get worse and she's quote-unquote scared for Mike. Like, bruh, you're the one writing the character, what do you mean you're scared for him? As mentioned earlier, he isn't eating, something that has been brought up at least twice now. He's giving away his personal possessions to his friends. At the arcade, he turns the toy gun on himself as they play with the triggers. He's spacing out. He's having trouble sleeping. Lucy's horrified expression keeps flashing in his mind. He's putting himself down, saying he isn't worthy of kindness. He's miserable talking to Sandy. All Mike wants to do is help Lucy feel better like he used to, but now he can't, further exacerbating the issue. And while he isn't as withdrawn as Lucy was when she went through her depression arc, all the signs are there. At the very least, Mike seems to be expressing himself better and learning that he is a good person deep down, even if he doesn't think so. But that doesn't mean he feels that way. And so in this way, with his depression, Mike is broken. But I don't think the person who posed this topic to me meant any of this. In his words, Mike is still a dumb wimp who immediately knuckles under Lucy in the Sandy dumped AU chapter, so that's not enough to actually salvage him. But that's just the point of all of this, isn't it? He is a dumb wimp. His character arc is him growing beyond being a dumb wimp. And during the time he wasn't a dumb wimp, He was bottling up his emotions, which is what led him to being the dumb wimp we know him today. The AU chapter mentioned is Another Flame, and while non-canon sources shouldn't count towards the character in the canon comic, we're going to humor them and take a look at it. Just to recap, this is an AU where Mike hangs up on Sandy rather than hear her out in December. This leads to Mike and Lucy talking during lunch the next day. They talk about the situation they're in and pretty much have the same conversation they had the night before, just without all the emotional baggage, and discuss where things are going forward. They agree to just try to be friends again. I don't really see how any of this is him knuckling under Lucy again. I think they've both grown enough at this point to know better than to fall into old habits. Plus, Mike still feels like he owes it to her after he, tore her heart out and jumped all over it and lit it on fire and threw it into a volcano and dropped a nuke on it. But moreover, BCIs and AUs shouldn't really count as part of the character unless stated otherwise. There are one or two BCIs that are still supposedly canon, but something gives me the feeling that this is not one of them. And so I ask again, does Mike need to be fixed? Well, I don't really think there is a clear answer here. This is something he's going to just have to work out on his own. No one can just give him a get out of depression free card. Isn't what he's going through now his character arc? For better or for worse, he's learning he has to balance being nice with looking out for himself. Kind of. There is a road to redemption and hopefully he's on it now. It's hard to say he is truly broken objectively in a meta sense when the point is that he is in a very low point in his life. That is the point of all of this once again. Perhaps when he comes out on the other side from all this, he'll have his backbone after dealing with another big fallout with someone over something, but that remains to be seen. The tough thing about talking about how to fix a character in a story like this is that it isn't over yet. There is still time for things to be smoothed over. But as of this moment in time, how can we fix him? Assuming this is how he'll be for the rest of his life, which is unlikely. Well, the first step is for him to cut ties with Sandy. The next is to use this as a means to understand that sometimes you just have to look out for yourself. He can be sympathetic towards Sandy, but still understand him splitting ways with her is for the best. You see, it isn't just Lucy Mike buckles under, it's literally everyone. It can feel selfish just looking out for yourself sometimes, but if you can't help yourself, how can you expect to help anyone else? There is a reason why passengers on a plane are instructed to put their own oxygen masks on before helping those around them. You can't help the people around you if you're unconscious, and Mike can't help the people around him if he's miserable all the time. This is the whole point of Daisy's talk with him in Double Down. He's too nice, and that enables others to take advantage of him. And so once he not just understands this, but puts it into practice, he will be fixed. He also needs to understand that he can't fix everyone else's problems either. The reason he's in this mess to begin with is that he believed things would be fine so long as he kept putting up with Lucy and being her security blanket, and when that became too much, he lashed out at her. This isn't meant to be victim blaming, because Mike is definitely a victim of her abuse, but he put himself in that position for years. Of course, he was just a stupid kid and didn't understand what really was going on, so he figured he could just deal with it, but still, he has to come to terms with all of this and be okay with not being able to help everyone. But as a femboy once told me, the hardest part is letting go. I think that pretty much wraps it all up. Do you guys think that Mike needs to be fixed? And if he does, how do we go about doing that? Let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you all next time.